In the front row, please.
On behalf of Japanese media, I have two questions to Mr. Branagh. Firstly, speaking from your theatrical background, are there any similarities between stage acting and green screen acting, do you think? And also, given the popularity of the comic book, did you feel any pressure taking on this project, perhaps referring back to the source material, just to make sure that's...
I'll answer the second one first, which is that I've been involved, it was so thrilling to be making this picture and not be answering questions at this stage that began with, why have you made a remake? Why have you done this film before it was so well done the first time, or the first 3 or 4 times? So that was exciting. The pressure from purists, if you like, has always been there. You know you can't please everyone, but you hope you can entertain everyone. And I love the passion and the debate that's attached to this material. To have that many people that interested in what you're doing, it's an absolute thrill. Believe me, I've sometimes been trying to promote films where that hasn't been the case. That's a thrill, so I'm very happy. I'm going to ask the boys the other question. I will preface it by just saying that Natalie Portman said at one stage, interestingly, that she felt that actors should have special training in how to act in green screen when there's nothing there. But boys, what did you have?
I mean, we were very fortunate. There was actually far less green screen than I think people imagine. We had these beautiful big sets that we were on and could interact with and be a part of. And the smaller piece of green screen that we had, you know, we thankfully had Ken to sort of fill us with a visual, a very vivid sort of colourful picture of what was going on. And it's a whole nother skill again. It's a very sort of numbing feeling being on green screen, and then the hum of the lights and everything's very sort of hypnotic, and you know, you need to really sort of bring your energy up. You know, it's different to being on a set that there's glaciers have been built, or you're in a big throne room, and it's you know, you feel like you're part of that world.
And because of the way we shot the end scene, Tom, talk about a little, if you wouldn't mind, about just you two fighting each other and what that sometimes meant, in fact.
Well, at the very end of the film, when the two of us are fighting on the Rainbow Bridge in Asgard, this shining city in the sky, it's very difficult for location scouts to go and find those two things. So the two of us were in a green screen warehouse, and quite often, because of the position of the camera, and I do all kinds of crazy things which really should be on under special skills on my CV, like self-duplicate, disappear, reappear, fly through the air. Sometimes where you know, Ken needed the camera to be in a particular position, moving in a particular way to give a huge dynamism and vitality to the shot. And in actual fact, it meant that a lot of the time I'm looking or speaking to Chris, and he couldn't actually be there, because that would mean him hanging from the ceiling in the most uncompromising position, unknown to man. So you sort of have to light some kind of bonfire underneath your imagination. And often, instead of Chris, it might be his double, or more often a tennis ball, or even a little coloured mark of sellotape next to the lens on the camera. But acting is all about imagination anyway. It doesn't matter if you're on stage, or if you're on television, or if you're on film. Your imagination is working overtime. And the great thing about having Ken do it was that he was always on hand with a microphone, quite often literally painting the picture on our behalf. So in Jotunheim, in the ice planet, we'd be walking along brilliant sets of ice flows surrounded by a green screen, and Ken would be there saying, to your left there's an ice tower crumbling into pieces, to your right there are shadows, frost giants could be coming out of those at any time, you're excited, you're freezing cold, you're terrified, beyond you is a plaza.
I listened to what, just in my ear, the visual effects supervisor was saying, I think that's going to be a great cliff top there, I think I'm going to give you a crevice there. Yeah. But the other thing which Tom was also hinting at was that because both Tom and Chris, probably a year before we started shooting, were rehearsing, and rehearsed again in summer, and rehearsed for a couple of weeks before we started shooting, and rehearsed on their own. All of that was there for them to call on, not only when they worked with us, but when they were with the second unit with great Vic Armstrong. So all of that was money in the bank for us, I think, by way of preparation.